Just start again, will you?
Well, when I came back from the laundry...
No, from when Chrissie came in. I think your part in this has been well established now, Doreen.
Well, Doreen was screaming.
What, when you came in?
No, before that. When I came in, she was giving her mouth to mouth. Well, at first I thought she'd gone mad, and then I saw the cat going on like a maniac.
Well, I suppose I chucked it pretty hard, Mr. Fletcher, but it gave me a hell of a fright.
How'd that damn cat get in here in the first place?
Well...
Mr. Fletcher? She'll be fine.
Are you sure?
Positive. But just to reassure you, we'll have some tests done.
Chrissie, would you please explain how that cat happened to be in here?
Look, there's nothing to explain, Mr. Fletcher. We found the cat in the garden, Jane and me. We just thought it would make a nice pet for the kids, that's all.
I thought you and Colton would have more sense.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, it's no good apologising to me. Just be thankful that she's still alive.
Oh, Doreen, I feel a real idiot. I wish I'd listened to you about the blasted cat.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I was going on like a real goose. It's no wonder you gave me the boot.
I'm ever so glad you found her and not me. I wouldn't have known what to do. I probably would have done me block, killed the bloody cat. Oh, she's enough getting big, isn't she?
Yeah.
It's all happening too fast, isn't it, Doreen? They're going to take her away from me soon.
Yeah, well, don't feel like that, Chrissie.
Well, how do you expect me to feel?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Well, it's like turning 1-year-olds a crime or something. You're 1 year old, so that's it, finish. It doesn't matter who gets hurt.
Yeah, well, at least you will have had her for 12 months.
Look, can you get me another nappy over there?
Yeah, sure. Hey, it's the last one.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll go to the laundry and get you some more.
Thanks. Come on, darling. Come on. Yes, over here.
Fair, Chrissie? There's no smoking in the interview room, Desmond. You know that. Rules were made to be broken, Vera. You put that out, or I'll stop this visit at once.
Look, I don't have to be here. I'm doing this as a favour to Mrs. Davidson.
And while you're here, you'll obey the regulations. Now put it out.
Never could resist screw baiting. Mrs. Davidson's told me a bit about you. You've got just over 5 weeks with your kid, eh?
Yeah, that's right. I read about your campaign, though, how you're trying to get the rules changed and that. Well, any chance of it happening, do you reckon?
Not in time to help you, I'm afraid, love. You know what the government's like. Takes them 6 weeks before they read our petition, 6 months before they bother to reply, and 6 years before they think about doing anything.
Looks like I got myself nicked in the wrong state, doesn't it?
It's the same old story. No room, no facilities, no medical attention. We come up with a reasonable answer, they hit us with another excuse. Let's face it, the law hasn't changed much since Captain Cook.
They can't take her away from me. She's all I've got. I don't want her put in a home.
Hang on, kid, don't get upset. Look, you're due for parole soon, aren't you?
Yeah, but you know what that's like. You can't rely on it.
Yeah. Look, haven't you got anyone on the outside that could help out until then? Family?
Oh, only me dad and me brother. I wouldn't let her stay with them.
I don't think you've got much choice, love. She'll probably be fostered out rather than put in a home, though.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I'm sorry, Chrissie. We'll keep stirring for a change in the law, but as it stands, there's no way they're going to let you keep your baby after she's a year old.
Oh, Elizabeth. It's all right. Mummy's coming. Come on. Oh, Elizabeth, what's the matter? What's the matter with you, darling? Let me get you something. Come on.
Can't you stop her crying? She'll wake the lot of them.
Well, she's not well, Miss Bennett. Look, she's breathing funny. Well, can't you get the nurse or something for her?
Well, she's not in yet. I'll bring her as soon as she arrives.
Oh,
Can't you give her something?
Shush. Is she going to be all right, sister?
She seems to be very congested. I think it's bronchitis, though the way she's breathing sounds like asthma.
Well, what if she has an attack?
Well, now, calm down. Premature babies often have trouble with their lungs. She'll grow out of it in time. However, I'd better arrange to send her to the hospital.
Is that absolutely necessary?
I would say so, Miss Bennett. Asthma attacks can be very serious in small babies. It's best to be on the safe side.
But you don't know it's asthma.
Exactly. I'm not a doctor. That's why I think she should be sent for a full examination.
Will she be there long?
I shouldn't think so. They'll just keep her in for a while for observation, then send her back with some medication.
Oh, Elizabeth. We've got So little time left together. Why did you have to get sick now? Oh, bloody damn.
Latham!
Stupid flame.
Will you stop swearing, Latham?
All stuck in it. Well, I don't know why I couldn't wear my uniform. You just don't want me going to see Elizabeth. That's it, isn't it?
It might surprise you to know that a lot of people don't like seeing prisoners wandering around. You're lucky to be allowed out anyway.
They're brought in. Elizabeth. Oh, how is she?
It's bronchitis. We've put her on fluids and we've given her an antibiotic. Now it's just a matter of keeping her under observation.
Well, when can I have her back?
Well, that depends on her condition.
They're taking her away from me soon, see? And I just want to see as much of her as I can.
Of course.
This hospital's real good, and I'll look after her real well.
I'm sorry, we don't want to tire her out.
Look, if she don't go to sleep straight off, she likes to be sung to, you know? Or you can rock her for a while.
She's in good hands.
Come on, Latham.
You will let me know how she's going, won't you?
Give 'em all my love, Chrissie.
Hurry up, Latham.
Yeah, you bet I will. And don't let 'em get at you, love. It's better out than in, no matter what. Ta-ra. If I have to stay in the nursery, I'll be climbing up the walls worrying about Elizabeth.
She could be released in a day or so. It's a waste of time moving you.
But I just think I'll be better off away from the nursery with something to do. You know what I mean, Mrs. Davidson?
Very well, I see no harm in your working with the others. But you'll have to return to the nursery in the evenings.
But, Mrs. Davidson, once she gets back into the mainstream of the prison, she'll only cause trouble.
I'll keep me nose clean unless someone sees to it I don't get a fair go.
What do you mean by that, Latham?
Oh, nothing. I was just thinking I was better off at Barnhurst. At least the screws there didn't keep pulling the rug out from under you all the time.
You sure you feel up to working?
Honest, Mrs. Jackson, I think it's better. I just don't want to be on my own.
God, Chrissie, what's up, love?
Oh, perhaps you ought to go back to your cell and lie down.
What's the matter, Chrissie? Elizabeth really sick? Mrs. Jackson?
Elizabeth's been taken from the hospital.
What do you mean taken? Who took her?
She's been kidnapped. That's what she means.
Oh, don't worry, Mrs. Jackson. We'll take care of her.
Oh, don't worry, love. The cops will find her. They're very good at that. That's why all of us are still in here.
Any new leads on the case as yet? We are following every possible clue. We do know what sort of person is likely to have taken the child. Someone insecure and unstable. In most cases of this kind, we found that the kidnapper is someone who has recently lost a child. Does this mean that the child is likely to be treated well? Well, that would depend on just how unstable the kidnapper is. Is there any way in which our viewing public can help? Well, if the person or persons who have taken Elizabeth Latham are listening to me now, the child is sick. I repeat, the Latham baby is in urgent need of medical attention. Will you please take the baby to the nearest
Oh, my
hospital?
God. She's going to die. I know she's going to die.
Come on.
It's her birthday. Well, don't they know that? Why don't they tell them, Mr. Fletcher? Tell them it's her birthday, and then they might bring her back to me.
Come on, Latham. They always make it sound worse than it is. Now, come on, back to your cell. I'll get you something to help you make you sleep from the dispensary. Now, come on. Give me a hand.
Doreen's pretty unstable at the moment, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Dor, really. You don't mean you think that she could... Oh, B, what a dreadful thing to say.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
It's going to be too late. I know it.
Will you calm down?
Oh, sure, yeah. My baby's been kidnapped. She's probably dying, and all you can
Mrs.
say...
Davidson went to a great deal of trouble to get
Would
you
you
this evening.
kindly keep your voices down? This is an intensive care unit. Who are you?
Oh, this is Latham from Wentworth. She's come to see her child.
Is she still alive?
Of course she is. Come this way. Now, you have to be very quiet.
Elizabeth. What have they done to you?
She's a very sick baby.
Is she going to get better?
She's in the best of hands. She's suffering from lack of medication.
Can't you give me an honest answer?
Your baby is on the critical list, but we expect she should pull through.
You'll get better. You'll have to. You're the only thing I've got.
behind the screen.
I don't need to be searched. I was with you all the time.
Look, you know the procedure. I know you've had a worrying time. But you've seen your baby, and you know she's going to pull through.
I'm going to get that animal that took Elizabeth.
Now you're just being silly.
You think I don't know who it was? It was Doreen.
I wouldn't be making any wild accusations if I were you.
Stands to reason, don't it? She's sick in the head. I suppose they'll be bringing her back here soon, won't they? So I won't have to wait long. When I get my hands on that bitch,
What will you do?
I swear to God I'm gonna kill her.
Since you already seem to know, there's no point in denying that Doreen Burns abducted your child. But I will not tolerate threats.
No.
Doreen will suffer quite enough without you threatening her, and I would like you to hear her side of the story.
You're real understanding, aren't you? What about my side of the story, eh? Burns has made Elizabeth and me suffer, and I'm gonna make sure she suffers too. You bitch!
That's the last warning, Latham. Doreen, I would like you to know that Elizabeth is off the danger list.
Oh, that's terrific. I'm glad. I'm real glad.
Oh, I bet you are, you bitch. If she'd have died, you'd be up for murder.
The fact that Doreen brought Elizabeth back when she did probably saved her life. Doreen, I would like you to tell Latham why you abducted her child.
I know why she took her. Because she'll never have any kids of her own, that's why.
No, Chrissie. I did it for Elizabeth. When I heard that they were going to put her in a home, well, I couldn't think of anything worse.
But they weren't taking her to a home.
I know, but that's what I thought they said. And you don't know what those places are like, but I do, and so does Chrissie, and I just wouldn't have that for Elizabeth. I was going to look after her until you got out. But then she got sick. She got real sick, and I knew I couldn't. But I couldn't just leave her. So I took her back to the hospital. You see, don't you? Oh, look, I know I was stupid, but I didn't mean to hurt her. I love that little kid, Chrissie. I suppose it is because I can't have any of my own. But I do love her.
Oh, you silly cow. Come here. I know you've got to have rules, Mr. Gillespie, and I don't blame you for being strict with all their mothers. But we had nothing to do with it. And, well, I just want to ask you a little favour. Well, it's not for me, really. It's for my daughter. See, she's 1 year old tomorrow. And I just thought I'd like to do something special, like a party in the garden. Oh, I know it's out of bounds at the moment, but you can't hold that against a little toddler.
A 1-year-old doesn't know the meaning of birthdays. We can't afford officers to stand over you and a tribe of children.
What are my kids gonna do?
The escape happened during a pantomime for children. I'd say that proves the point.
Please, sir. I'm not going to be able to have her for very much longer anyhow. And I just think it's really important that she should have a first birthday party.
Welfare are meant to collect the child when it's 12 months old, aren't they?
Sometimes they leave it for a week or two, depending how busy they are. And then they usually give us a week's notice, as they haven't done yet.
I'll give them a ring. Make sure they come tomorrow.
No. No, not tomorrow. Well, that's too soon. You can't do that.
With your record, I'm surprised you got the gall to ask for anything.
What are you talking about? Ever since I had Elizabeth, I've kept me record as clean as a whistle.
Latham's up in front of the parole board within a month.
So what? I've shown everyone here that I've kept myself together. I just want to get out for Elizabeth so she's not stuck in that home longer than she needs be.
I only needed a reminder. I knew Mr. Jackson quite a few years ago. You committed one of the worst crimes in the book, murdering a staff member. As far as I'm concerned, you should be serving a life sentence. And the sooner that child's taken away from you, the better.
You bastard!
Latham!
When I get out of here, you know the first thing I'm going to do? And we're going to do it together. We're going to go out in the garden at night, and we're going to look up at the moon and the stars. Because you ain't never seen them from in here, have you? They always lock us up before they come out. But we will. We'll go out into the garden. And we'll stand there just as long as we want. And we'll count them all. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Couldn't fit the word birthday on it, love, but, well, I made it all by myself. What do you think about that?
I had a little girl once, Megan. She died when she was nearly 1. A cot death. Could I nurse her for a while, please? You're just as beautiful as Megan was. They wanted to punish me. I didn't have to take her away from me. All right, you've got 5 minutes before you have to get back to work.
Let's get this party on the road then. Yeah. I better light the candle then.
I'll do it for you, Chrissie.
Here, look, I'll take her now. Thanks.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Elizabeth. Happy birthday to you.
Thanks.
Blow out the candle. Make a wish. Why was she born so beautiful? Why was she born? Sorry.
I thought you might like a photograph of Elizabeth.
Oh, thanks.
Hello, Miss Bennett. Mrs. Bennett.
You're not supposed to make mistakes with these.
Rather a nice idea of Meg's, don't you think?
And we better have another one just to be on the safe side.
Yeah?
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Morris.
Take a while for these to develop properly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chrissie. It's time to go.
Can I carry her out, please?
Bye, Elizabeth. Well, all right, the fun's over. Move out.
That really must have made your day, Vera.
She's got a good appetite. The only thing she won't come at is mashed apples straight. But if you put a bit of honey with it or sugar, she likes to be sung to sleep. She's a good kid. All you've got to do is talk to her, you know? She understands everything.
I'll take her now, Chrissie.
How'd they turn out?
She's beautiful.
Yeah. Can I have them then? Because they're mine.
No, they're not. Why do you want Megan's photos?
Megan? But that's Elizabeth. Come on, quit fooling around.
Don't you touch them. They're mine.
You give them to me, you silly bitch!
You're not going to take her away from me.
Let me have them, your brain in the stone! kill you if you don't give them to me. Get away from him! Get away from her! She was gonna kill me!
Mr. Gillespie's going to be very pleased to hear about this, Latham.
Please, Mrs. Davidson, don't let him put me in the pound.
I don't think that will be necessary, do you, Mr. Gillespie?
As far as I'm concerned, you're a security risk, Latham. And as such, you'll be moved to A block. And I don't think this will look too good to the parole board either, do you?
You bastard.
Chrissie.
What's the big news in A block?
Oh, nothing special. I got myself transferred to get more money for Elizabeth.
How is she?
I don't know, I haven't seen her.
I bet you really miss her.
That bloody parole board. First of all, that bastard Gillespie screwed it up for me. And then last time, they never got around to seeing me.
You got a visitor, Latham?
Who?
Somebody called Michael O'Brien.
Can she touch him?
It'll be in the interview room. Come on, Latham.
What the bloody hell are you doing here?
I came to see you.
About bloody time, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I couldn't come before, you know that.
Well, you could have bloody written.
Just sit down, Latham, and watch the language, eh?
I couldn't write. I didn't want to draw attention to myself.
No, you never want to draw attention to yourself, do you? Afraid of your own shadow, you are. All you think about's yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm here now, aren't I?
Yeah. I can't think why.
I heard about the kid.
It's not a kid, it's a little girl. Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. She's in a home now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm here. I've got a job now. Things are going pretty good. And you're going to be out on parole soon. Well, I'd like to look after you both. You and Elizabeth.
Honest?
Honest. You know, and... Well, if things work out, maybe we could get married, you know, the whole thing.
Well, why didn't you say all this before?
Well, you didn't give me a chance.
Oh, I don't mean just now. I mean, you know, before.
Yeah, well, I was hardly in a position to, was I?
No. Suppose not. Hey, look, are you sure about all of this? I mean, it's been a long time.
Of course I'm sure. I haven't thought about anything else. Which home have they got Elizabeth in?
Kingston.
Do you reckon I could come and see her?
You're still nervous, aren't you?
Even more so. Do you reckon I could see her?
I don't see why not.
Does she look like you?
Sort of. Oh, she's prettier. She's got my hair, though.
Mrs. Davidson, I'd like to see Latham when you're finished.
Right.
When do you think you're going to see her, then?
This afternoon, if they'll let me.
Your boyfriend must be a patient man.
How do you mean?
Well, you've been in here how long now? It must be, what, 4 years? Took a long time for him to come and visit you.
Yeah, he used to come and visit me in Barnhurst, though, didn't he?
Yeah, but not in here.
Oh, it was too far to come, wasn't it?
Oh, come in, Latham. Close the door, please, Mr. Fletcher. I think you'd better sit down, Latham. I have some rather bad news for you.
Is it about my parole?
No. The Child Welfare Department have just been on the phone to me. They feel that in view of the violence that has taken place in Wentworth recently, bashings, riots, and even murders, it would not be a suitable place for a small child. I'm afraid your application to have Elizabeth returned to you has been refused.
What are you doing here, Latham?
I want to apply for a conjugal visit, and I want Elizabeth to come too.
Oh, yes? Who's the lucky man?
Mick O'Brien.
Oh, come off it, Latham. These visits are for husbands and de factos. What right's he got to a conjugal visit?
He's got every right. He's Elizabeth's father. Her, dad's bringing her in.
Wouldn't have to find out who he was first.
They know who he is. I told him. It's Mick O'Brien, that bloke that came to see me yesterday.
Wasn't he at Barnhurst?
Yeah.
Well, what is he, a screw or what?
Of course he's not a screw. I wouldn't sleep with one of them bastards.
But you reckoned you didn't know who the father was.
Yeah, well, I just said that so he didn't get into trouble. Look, it wasn't really like I said. I couldn't get a bloke whenever I wanted. I had to be real careful.
Well, that's terrific, isn't it? I mean, there you were sleeping with him at Barnhurst, and you reckon they're going to bring him in here to let you do the same thing?
Why not? He's asked me to marry him.
Oh, you kid.
I went to see Elizabeth this afternoon. Gee, she's a beautiful little kid. Just like her mum. I wanted to take her for a walk, but they wouldn't let me.
Oh, no, but they wouldn't, would they? Well, you might have been anyone wandering in. You could have pinched her.
Yeah. It'd be easier if my name was on a birth certificate. Do you reckon you could fix that up?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, without the screws finding out.
They already know you're the father.
How?
Well, I told them.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
I had to. Here, anyway. They got these new kind of visits in here. Conjugals. It means you can come in and bring Elizabeth with you.
You mean private visits?
Yeah. They got this shed out in the grounds and it's got all this grass around it so Elizabeth can play on it.
How long's this been going on?
They had the first visit today. One of the women had her bloke in and her 2 kids. They're not married, but he's the father of the 2 kids, you know, just like us.
Yeah, well, they're hardly going to let me bring Elizabeth in, are they? I mean, they wouldn't even let me take her out of the home.
Oh, I can arrange all that. It's just a matter of signing the right papers, that's all.
How long will that take?
Dunno. All them things take a long time, don't they? Still, be worth waiting for, won't it?
Yeah. It's a funny bloody prison. Private visits, screws letting me in twice a week. I wouldn't mind being in here myself.
I wouldn't mind that either.
Things haven't become that easy, Latham. Still, I suppose it's only a matter of time.
Well, it's not likely, is it?
Well, we wouldn't have so many escapes.
No. Be trying to break into the place, not out of it.
Enjoy the visit, Latham?
Oh, yeah. Thanks ever so much for letting him back in, Miss Bennett.
It's the least I could do. You won't be seeing him again for a while.
What do you mean?
We checked your story about him being Elizabeth's father.
Well, he is.
Oh, yes, we know that now. I just received a telephone call from the department. They confirmed that he was at Barnhurst while you were there.
Well, so what? He's done his time. He's free now.
He's an ex-criminal, Latham. You know the rules. No consulting. I'm sure when I tell Mrs. Davidson the news, you won't be getting a visit from him or your child for as long as you're at Wentworth.
I know me and Mick ain't married, but if we'd have met on the outside, we would have done. And we have got Elizabeth.
By rights, I shouldn't allow him to visit at all. He is an ex-prisoner.
I know that. And I'm ever so grateful, honest. But it's real important to me, to both of us. And I'm not just after the sex or anything like that. It's just that I think if I was to see him a few times, he might stand by Elizabeth and me.
How long has he been out of Barnhurst?
6 months.
Is he on parole?
Oh, no, clean as a whistle. He's got himself a regular job and a really nice little flat.
All right, Chrissie, I'll put you on trust. I had intended to consider the general unsupervised visits much later, but you can be our trial case. Don't let me down. I'll arrange for you to see him tomorrow.
Thanks ever so much, Mrs. Davidson. You won't regret it. Hey, guess what? That newspaper was right. Davo is going to allow unsupervised visits. She's letting Mick come in tomorrow.
Tough luck.
Bloody marvellous luck, you mean? Old Chrissie's eyes are going to be shining tomorrow, girls.
I said tough luck because it won't be happening. We just took a vote. We're not going to play the screws game anymore, and we're boycotting the visiting scheme. And that means everyone.
You listen good, Chrissie. I am boss cocky around here because the other women want me to be. And they do not want the governor taking credit for all these lovely unsupervised visits and then have Vera breathing down their necks every time their hubbies and kids come to call. Now, like you said, it doesn't affect me, so I am doing it for them.
Oh, you're all heart.
And if I hear of anyone accepting an unsupervised visit, I will make sure they are in no condition to enjoy it. Do you understand? Well...
Yes.
No physical contact, Latham. This is an ordinary visit. There's no special privileges. Could you supervise the visit, please, Miss Bennett? I have to report to the governor.
What the bloody hell's going on? I thought this was supposed to be a private visit.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. I had to knock it back.
Why?
Oh, some woman in there thinks she's real important. She came on a bit heavy.
Yeah, well, so much for me bringing Elizabeth in.
Oh, that won't last long. No, probably next time you come, you'll be able to bring her in.
You managed to get me a name on a birth certificate?
No, not yet. Still, Mrs. Morris, she's going to be the new welfare worker. She'll fix it up for us. What's the matter?
How much has she checked up on me?
Oh, you don't want to worry about her. She reckoned you weren't going to come in here again. Mrs. Davidson was real good about it, though. What's worrying you, Mick?
Nothing. Skip it.
Yeah, I'm ever so glad you could come.
Yeah, so am I.
Remember those afternoons in Barnhurst? When we used to crawl through that hole in the fence? Go in that shed? Hey? You're bloody rotten, Bee. I've got to wait a week now for a private visit from Mick.
Oh, stop bellyaching, Chrissie. We all agreed to the boycott and it was for everyone's good.
You soon forgot about everyone's good when it suited you, though, didn't you? All you cared about is what you wanted.
So you missed out. So tough.
You rotten...
Kill you! Oh, you and who's that? That's enough. You're going to solitary, Latham.
It wasn't my fault.
I think I can safely say you've ruined your chance of parole. Keep an eye on them.
It wasn't my fault. It wasn't.
Come on, Latham. You've got off this time.
You're kidding.
I'm not in the habit of kidding. For her own reasons, Mrs. Davidson has decided to turn a blind eye to your behaviour.
Oh, good old David.
Now, come on, I've got work to do.
Tell me, Chrissie, do you and Mick intend to get married when you're released?
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm fond of him. I just don't think I want to spend the rest of my life with him, you know, tied down. I mean, when it boils down to it, all men are bastards one way or another, Mrs. Morris, aren't they?
Well, he does seem to care about you.
Oh, he does now, because we've only been together for a short time. You give him 2 years, he'll soon get sick of me.
Well, what about Elizabeth? He is her father.
That's another thing. Mick's asked me to ask you if you can get his name put on the birth certificate.
Well, there are a few formalities to go through, but I'm sure it can be done. Well, don't you see, Chrissie, if he wants that, he must be planning some sort of a future for you and Elizabeth.
Oh, I reckon Mick likes to be free. If he is planning anything, I don't think it could be that serious, honest.
Well, I wanted to tell you I've been working on a report for your parole hearing, and I think you stand a pretty good chance of getting it. A lot will depend on what I can arrange for you as far as a job and accommodation are concerned.
Well, the main thing is to get Elizabeth.
Well, now we got Elizabeth and everything, I reckon we ought to think about making it legal.
You mean get married?
Well, I want to do the right thing by you and me daughter. Will you marry me, Chrissie?
How long's Mick been out of jail?
6 months.
Oh, well, then how come it's taken him till now to come and see you?
I don't know, do I? He said something about wanting to get set up proper, you know, so he could offer me some kind of future, I suppose.
Oh, sounds like a real nice bloke.
He's okay.
Did you really lie about the kid being his?
Why don't you go and eat some poisoned cheese, Mouse?
What are you going to...
I mean, how do you think it feels when we see women like Bee getting extra visits? And all we've got is to think about our men. Once a bloody month, if you're lucky, you might get to hold hands.
At least I'll be able to explain to the board that you're under a great deal of emotional pressure.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Put my feelings out on the table for everyone to leer at.
Sexual frustration is a problem in all prisons.
They're going to think I'm a raving nympho. I mean, what would you know anyway, going home to your husband? I'm sorry, Mrs. Morris. You're not just stringing me along, are you? I mean, you won't ruin it for me when you get in front of the board, will you? Get your own back after all this time?
I meant that I understood. But if you have any doubts, we may be able to get you another parole officer.
Oh, no, I want to stick with you. I've been thinking about Mick, and I'm going to marry him.
Well, you don't sound very happy about it.
Yeah, well, I could do worse, couldn't I? And it will help me to get out of here, won't it?
It's pointless marrying him just to get out, Chrissie. I mean, if the marriage breaks down, well, you won't be getting Elizabeth straight away. You have to prove that you've got a suitable home environment before welfare hands her over.
I'll do anything for my child.
Chrissie?
Yeah?
Would you like to go and pack your bags?
You mean I've got it? I'm getting out? Oh, that's bloody brilliant.
Oh, that's real good, Chrissie. Give my love to Elizabeth, won't you?
Of course I will. I'm only allowed to see her one day a week. Well, that is till I've proved I'm a good mother.
You'll have her back in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.
Well, honey, if you need a reference, just ring us up, huh?
Yeah, I'll do that. No hard feelings, eh?
Good luck.
You too. I've got a lot of things I'd like to say to you, Miss Bennett, but I'm too much of a lady.
You'll be back inside, Latham. 5 years on parole. You'll be lucky to last 5 days.
Like hell.
Hurry up, Chrissie. Sign out and you can go.
The only way I'll end up back in here is if I see you out there. Because if I do, I'm going to wipe that smug grin right off your face.
Chrissie.
I don't know how you sleep at nights, Miss Bennett, knowing how everyone hates your guts.
What your sort think doesn't interest me, Latham. But I'll remember you. And when you're sent back to Wentworth, I'll be waiting.
I'll drop in tomorrow and see how you've settled in.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Morris, for speaking up for me. You know, and, well, everything.
See you, Mrs. Morris.
Goodbye, Mick.
I can't wait for you to see the flat.
Will you stop treating me like I'm some sort of flaming invalid?